All right, Bulls Bucks last game of the day here for us was a pretty tight one down to the finish after the Bucks were up a little bit more convincingly early. Ends up being a 93-86 Milwaukee win. So, what would Coach Jason point at to the Bulls and say this is what you guys need to adjust and fix going forward?
So, same concept as what we were talking about with the Pelicans. The Bucks did what they've been doing all season, overplaying the paint. Yeah, Giannis kind of helping out of the weak side. Brook Lopez hanging out around the basket as much as he possibly can. I complained coming into this series that I was worried about the Bulls because they don't shoot enough threes. They attempt right around like 28 threes per game in the regular season, which was dead last in the NBA. And the Bucks give up the most threes in the NBA, wide open threes, that is. They give up over 20 wide open threes every single game in the regular season, which was by far the most in the league. So I was concerned that the Bulls wouldn't be able to make the Bucks pay the way that they would need to. The weird part is they took 37 threes tonight. To their credit, they took some really good ones in that pick and pop type of scenario with Nikola Vucevic. Not just in pick and pop, but also they had Vucevic when he was not involved in the action spot up at the 3-point line. Same idea, like at least make Milwaukee pay by giving up a wide open shot if they're going to overplay the paint. The problem was, of those 37 threes they took, way too many of them were pull-up threes. And this is on both LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. I thought both of them struggled with kind of understanding how to put their imprint on the game offensively, when to be aggressive as scorers and when to be more willing to play make. If you're going to beat the Bucks, you have to have a boatload more catch and shoot threes on the weak side. And I'm not just talking about the stuff with Nikola Vucevic. DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine have to be more willing to kick out to guys in the corner. I'm really curious to look at this one a little bit more in the tape because, again, they took 37, but from what I could tell, a lot of the ones they were taking were difficult, contested threes, not the kind of threes that you need in order to make this Bucks defense pay. So my biggest takeaway moving forward, if I'm the Bulls, is try to find a way to declutter the paint by just spamming pick and pop with Nikola Vucevic. And if you get into the lane and there's help, make the kick out every time. Trust your shot quality. Trust the fact that over the course of the series, even if you miss them in one game, you'll make these really good shots. Don't do what DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine did and just keep trying to slam your head into the brick wall, taking impossible shots, because all you're going to do is keep missing, and now your confidence is going to waver. That's going to be the if they make those reads, you'll soften the defense to the point where now you can get higher quality shots and then you can get going, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you make a great point just about the Bulls' willingness to shoot threes because you're watching the Bucks draw pick and roll every time, and DeRozan's just long two. And obviously, you can't hate on the guy because he does make the shots about as efficiently as anybody in basketball, but they just were not falling today, obviously. So he's earned himself a reputation as a guy who just doesn't live up to expectations in the playoffs. Do you think that there's anything to that with him?
There is. I mean, playoff basketball is just really hard, man. Like, look at what happened to Kevin Durant tonight. Like, if it can happen to Kevin freaking Durant, then like all these guys are dealing with similar coverages. Like when you're game planning for the Bulls, DeMar DeRozan's 1A on your scouting report. You know what I mean? And so, there's a type of shot that you can get regularly in the NBA regular season that you can't get in the playoffs. We were talking about DeRozan getting to those pull-up twos against drop coverage or in isolations like post-up turnarounds. They're just a little tougher now. I wouldn't even say that. They're a lot tougher. There's this weird culture around the NBA. People pretend like they don't play defense in the regular season. They do, but like there's a difference between like good effort in the regular season and like okay to sloppy effort in the regular season. In the playoffs, it's like any mix of really good effort to like crazy, desperate, psychotic, like fighting for our lives effort. So like every possession just has this extra level of intensity. I thought that in particular, the Bucks did a really nice job of disrupting DeMar DeRozan's base, kind of making him feel like he was crowded. And you could almost see, I don't know if you noticed this, Carson, but like there was a lack of smoothness to DeMar's pull-ups. He looked like he was pressing a little bit stressed, a little bit rushed, and a lot more like flailing. Like he just looked uncomfortable. And so the thing is like, I don't know that DeMar DeRozan because of his size. He's a good, decent sized guy, but he's not a huge wing, right? He's 6'6" and decently strong. He's not the kind of guy that's going to be routinely able to get great shots. Okay.
Right.
So it's going to come down to whether or not he can make tough shots. And even though he's very good at that over the course of his career, he just, for whatever reason, hasn't been able to make them in the postseason.
So for the Bucks, obviously, they pick up a win here, but it really did come down to it. And it came down to it on a day where DeRozan is 6 of 25, Vooch is 9 of 27, Levine is 6 of 19. Like, none of the Bulls' big three shoot better than 33%. So just given that, is there anything from this game that concerns you for Milwaukee, given the closeness and the fact that the Bulls' best guys really did struggle?
I'm not concerned as it pertains to the Bucks' ability to win the series. But I thought that Chicago demonstrated something that was an interesting conundrum for the Bucks today. So, like, you know, traditionally the way teams do help defense is let's say Giannis is isolating on the left wing and there's a shooter in the strong side corner. Usually the guy guarding the shooter in the strong side corner stays glued to them, because most defensive schemes never want to give up a strong side corner three. So usually the help just comes from the baseline, from the weak side corner. And so a guy will beat someone off the dribble, and they usually just have to deal with the help defender at their rim. Well, what Chicago did that I thought was really interesting is wherever Giannis caught the ball, even if it was one pass away, guys were sitting in his driving lanes. And so, but they were kind of like splitting the difference. It was kind of like dare you to make a decision kind of thing. Like, you'd have Patrick Williams guarding Giannis, staring him right in the face, and Giannis has this rhythm and he's kind of trying to figure out whether he's attacking. But there's Alex Caruso sitting right in the driving lane to the left. And, you know, there's Derek Jones Jr. sitting right in the driving lane to the right. And it's like, okay, even if I beat Patrick Williams, I'm just running right into another defender. But at the same time, Alex Caruso's not doubling. So, like, if I throw this pass to the strong side corner, like, it's a three, but it's going to be a slightly contested three. Like, Alex is going to close out. And so it kind of flustered the Bucks offense. Now, Bucks fans will probably tell you it's rust. It's we haven't played in a week. It's, you know, game one jitters, all that kind of stuff. I looked at it more as a really, really smart scheme from Chicago to dare Milwaukee to make easy single pass reads to one pass away shooters to take lightly contested threes. And I can't remember the exact number, but the Bucks shot in the low 20% from three today. That whole dynamic kind of psyched him out. The obvious adjustment there is you got to make sure Chris Middleton's one of those guys that's one pass away, and maybe Pat Connaughton is the other. And then you got to look at Chris and you got to be like, look, man, when they do this, I'm hitting you. You've got to shoot it. You've got to find a way, just like we were talking about with the Pelicans and with the Bulls earlier, you got to find a way to loosen that defense. And the only way to do it is to demonstrate that you are willing to make them pay for it. And way too frequently in this game, they would drive into that traffic and cause problems. So first of all, credit to the Bulls. They defended like crazy. That was a really, really impressive performance. But the Bucks are going to have to figure out how to make the Bulls pay for just digging into Giannis's driving lanes all night long.